Hari Om. Hope and pray that you are all doing well. In today's nugget of wisdom, it might be a little longer than usual because I came across a beautiful quotation wherein it covers the entire spectrum of what does sadhana mean. What do we mean by sadhana? Because in today's day and age, we have taken out the entire process of sadhana, broken it down into pieces, and each piece has become an end in its own in its own value, and it seems to lead to a lot of confusion that all these various paths are very disturbing. So let me, through this statement, consolidate everything. Usually I have a scroll running by, but this is so long that I put all the pointers in one block. Hope you all can read it. Through the process of pranayama, access the mind. Through karma yoga, when I say karma yoga, it is not that we perform karma yoga, and just doing one karma doesn't make us, one karma in a week doesn't make us a karma yogi, or one kind of karma as a karma yogi. Entire life lived through this karma yogic perspective of living. What does it do? It distills our mind and cleans the mind. Through Jnana Yoga, we integrate this cleaned up mind with the intellect, and this intellect, which has the capacity to peacefully abide in the core of our own being and stabilize there. Now, what is the purpose of this Dhyana Yoga? Dhyana Yoga is not to find realization in the Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta Shastra. We call it as Nididhyasana. Nididhyasana is where erroneous habitual patterns, that which we are stuck in, which constantly takes us away from the abidance in the earlier step. So that has to be meticulously watched and cleaned away, and that process to re-emphasize my own true nature to my own intellect, which has been wrongly conceived into a wrong habitual pattern, that has to be cleared up, so that our abidance in the supreme as the very core of my own being, tattvamasi, to understand that as my true nature and to abide in it. So whole list here. Now, in the Ashtanga Yoga of Patanjali Yoga Sutras, the 8 limbs, the first limb starts with Yama Niyama, then comes Asana, then comes Pranayama. So, when Pujya Gurudev is stating Pranayama, it means that those who have already accomplished the first 3 steps, this is other misnomer, that those who start with the yogasanas, those who start with the pranayama, they are of the opinion that oh, I go to this class. Especially in the Western world, these have been made into 2 different branches, and these 2 different branches are a very good marketable avenues. I'm told that each one is a few $billion market. The accessories that go along with it also has become a good market. But the point is lost when we commercialize it. Now, there are apps as well, and none of these steps are taken care of in those apps. So there is a huge confusion. So let us throw some light into it so that the confusion is clarified and we set our priorities clear. So, yama, niyama. Yama is the step to bring in a balanced approach at a very physical level. So, physical discipline, you can call that. Mental discipline is called niyama, internal. One is external, which is yama, internal is niyama. So, it includes all the food habits, ahara, vyavahara, achara, all of those habits, they are disciplined. Nothing too extreme. Extremities of complete avoidance or complete indulgence is brought to a balance. Whenever whatever required, I perform it, come back clean with a clean slate. Every interaction is taken care of. So yama, niyama. Asana is to find, not just to create a pattern wherein the body is twisted and twisted and twisted. The purpose is, when for the later part from pranayama towards the rest of the path that has been enumerated, the body is accessible, the body is balanced, the body has lost its wobbly nature that I constantly am moving, and when people also sit, their minds are so agitated that it expresses through their body with lot of agitations, or they take a clicky pen and they keep clicking on it, or making sounds on the desk or table. All these waggering patterns are streamlined. Then I come to pranayama, wherein before I apply myself into any of the other paths, the mind has to be accessible. Pranayama brings that mind, because it is an abstract thing. Prana is, though little abstract, but it still can be regulated. Through the regulation of the prana, I regulate the mind. When I bring the prana shakti into a balance, accessibility, and maintain it at a slow, steady pace, the mind, the pace at which it is running, it is reduced, and this reduced mind now has become alert, and this alert mind is used in channelizing that mind towards the next step, which becomes karma yoga. Now, what is karma yoga? It is an attitude towards my body, mind and intellect functioning in the field of action, any kind of action, that which is my responsibility to fulfill that. When I am fulfilling these steps of my day-to-day actions, responsibilities, duties, I perform it with a certain attitude, wherein Ishwararpitam nechaya kritam chitta shodhakam mukti sadhakam. Ishwararpitam, I constantly dedicate every single action consciously to that supreme Ishtadaiva or Ishvara. Ishwararpitam. Nechaya kritam, I am performing it with complete selflessness, knowing very well that when I am performing an action, the results will come, and they will come only to me because I am the one performing it, but it is being offered at the altar of the highest. Now, this highest, there are those who dedicate their actions to the field of science, field of family, field of nation. The highest that we can offer it is to the field of, to the altar of that supreme, that Ishvara. And that is how it should be. What does it do? It cleans our mind. Over a period of time, when we perform these actions that way, it cleans and distills our mind. Then comes Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga has two parts to it, the first sentence and the second sentence. The first part of it is where it integrates the mind, which is operating system, with the outside world. The intellect guides it. Usually this mind is a little indisciplined, wherein it does not listen to the directions given from the inner conscience. This inner conscience is our higher self or the intellect, which is trying to guide. When that integrity is found, there is least rupture, and in this least ruptured situation, uh, there is absence of guilt, remorse, and the mind has been, the clutter has been cleaned. And in this clean, clutter free mind, there is more availability. I have accessed it, now it is available, it is with energy. Now, with this energized mind, what do? I find a sanctuary of peace within, and in that I recognize my true nature. So, that which I am worshipping so far through the path of bhakti, because the moment karma yoga, when you are offering it to the higher altar, it becomes bhakti. And with this bhakti, when I find that the core of my own being is what is reflecting in those that which I am invoking as divine, whether in one particular form or the entire creation as the expansion of that Ishvara, is the very source of my own core of being, and abide in it. Now, why should I meditate? Because if the recognition is realization, Jnanat evatu kaivalyam, there is no second thought beyond that. It is only through knowing that one realizes. Then why are we requested to perform this meditation? Meditation also is an act. But what does this meditation do? What is the purpose of this meditation? The purpose of this meditation is to clean erroneous habitual patterns. Let me take an example where, suppose in Indian system, there are certain institution of marriages wherein the spouse gets to change the name after marriage. So for 25-30 years you have had one particular name, and after marriage you change that name. So when the earlier name is now being replaced by the new name, it takes a certain time to acclimatize with the new name. Sometimes in the first few weeks it is like my own name being called the new name, and yet I am not recognizing that being as my name. It happens, when I was given sannyasa diksha or brahmacharya diksha, the names change and find it difficult to attune to that new name. It does happen, sometimes even after sannyasa, after almost about 18 years of brahmacharya, living as brahmachari Uddhav Chaitanya, now as Swami Sarveshananda, when I'm calling, and you can leave a voice message, right? So I inadvertently end up saying this is the old name. So it took a while to change to the new name and get acclimatized to this. This is the erroneous habitual pattern wherein I behave ineffectively as the body, mind and intellect, and that has to be scrubbed every single time. There are these pointers given by the Upanishads, and those pointers throw light on those crevices wherein I am still attached to, and those are scrubbed. That scrubbing process is called nididhyasana or meditation. And as this layer gets cleaned, the abidance of the earlier step gets strengthened. And when walking, talking, being wherever I am, it is that abidance alone reflects in my thought, word and deed. That is the state of realization expressing. Therefore, we call them as walking, talking, very form of God. Therefore, they are worship worthy. Such teachers are worship worthy. Now, what happens once I realize my true nature and abide in it? In that abidance, what I reach is a state of my own being, which is exuberance of joy, exuberance of happiness, bliss. And that bliss is what Because one would say that if I'm already happy, then what is the need for me to work again? See, a happy man does not sit in a dark corner. That is the category where jab dil hi toot gaya kind, where they sit in one corner, don't want to be disturbed. But those who are abiding in that highest state, their joy, the exuberance of that joy, it expands. It's not that I am this body, mind and intellect alone. That erroneous perception is gone. The entire creation is the expression of that Paramatma, and that attunement, in that attunement, I see this as an expansion of my own true self. Therefore, the love towards every being and to be able to provide the right direction for me to guide everybody to find that peace, that serenity, that joy within becomes a compulsion almost. So the one who is abiding in that helps those who are around reach that highest while being in this very life, not as a posthumous reality, that which can be attained or achieved somewhere up above the world so high. It is here right now. That is called Jivan Mukti. Such an inspiring state to be in. So hope the process is clear. You can leave a comment if you need any further clarity, and we can dwell more upon it. Trying to keep it as klupta, as simple, straightforward as possible, so that we can at least understand the process in one go. And where we are in this and how do we attune ourselves and align ourselves is the next step, for which we have various other resources that can be presented. Hope that helps. Until the next time, take care. Hari Om.